Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for this video because I had planned to make this video a while ago, but I kept just accumulating books and I figured I would just dump them all in this video. Today we're going to talk about the 32 books that I recently hauled, and almost every single book in this stack has literally all the kinds of fall vibes that you want for the fall season. There's going to be witchy books, there's going to be cozy mystery books, there's going to be vampire books, there's going to be Dracula books. There's going to be a ton of books. Before we get into the video though, if you haven't already, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. That way you never miss another one of my videos. Okay, so in this beautiful stack, you guys, like I said, I have a little bit of everything. Cozy mystery, cozy witchy vibes, cottagecore. I have a few horror books, not too many because I'm a chicken shit. I have one dark romance, one gothic dark paranormal romance, a few dark romances, I believe, some dark academia, maybe some thriller. Let's talk about some honorable mentions that Book of the Month has released not long ago, with the exception of one book that I finally decided to purchase for this month. So the first book I want to talk about, the first two books I want to talk about, these books are horror / psychological thrillers. The first one I think is a horror, and that is Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. I mean, look at this freaking cover. Okay, look at this cover. This cover alone is the main reason why I bought this book. I hope it's good because it's a short, sweet little horror. I think it's a psychological horror. But this cover, I guess I'm easy to please because I have not seen something so beautiful as this for a horror book anyways. The sole survivor of a serial killer might hold the key to stopping a new spree of murders in this propulsive horror thriller. One thing that really caught my attention in the description of this is this. Father Silence once terrorized the rural town of Twisted Tree, disguising himself as a priest to prey on the most vulnerable members of society. When the police finally found his house of horrors, they uncovered 19 bodies and one survivor, a boy now locked away in a hospital for the criminally insane. Are we gonna have possibly an unreliable narrator? I don't know, you guys, but I am intrigued. It's a house of horrors. What more can you ask with a psychological horror? Like, I'm excited for this. Then this cover alone, again, just did something to me, okay? And that is Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara. Look at this cover. Look at this cover. Don't you just want to read it just based on this cover? This book, I believe, is about a woman who's enjoying her bath, and all of a sudden she hears that someone is in her house, in her attic, okay? And then, I don't know what it says, 30 seconds later, she is dead. So I'm super intrigued. I wonder what this is about. This is a psychological thriller. To me, that's so terrifying to have someone in your house and you are basically fighting for your life. Say no more. This is probably my most anticipated read / release of this month. I didn't even know this book existed until I saw it for Book of the Month, and I've been seeing and hearing nothing but great things on Book Talk. That is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. Look at this cover. Okay, the paperback cover of this is glossy, it's beautiful, it's shiny. I might just buy a second copy if I end up loving this book. So all I know is that this has trials, it has all kinds of paranormal entities, it has ghouls, it has vampires, it also takes place in a haunted house, and there's also a romance in there. Come on, you guys, say no more. Literally in the table guide as to what kind of creatures you are to run into in this book, there's devils, demons, wraiths, vampires, shapeshifters, familiars, ghosts, necromancers, seers, witches, specters, phantoms, poltergeist, apparitions, and ghouls. Like, Phantasma has only 2 rules: stay alive and don't fall in love. I don't want to read more. I am so excited, and I'm so glad that this book is chunky because I know that every single word in this book is going to be fantastic. Okay, look how beautiful this is. I'm so excited for this book. I kind of want to like stop what I'm reading and pick this up immediately because I know it's going to be perfect for the fall vibes that I'm looking for. Then I simply, again, got this book because of the cover. Normally, Book of the Month just gives you the average, you know, regular covers for these books. This one has a gloss touch to it that makes it so beautiful. I can only imagine what the actual hardback of this cover looks like. The Crimson Moth by Heather Walter. Look how stunning, you guys. Look how beautiful. Doesn't that scream fall to you? Don't you just want to read this in the fall? It is so gorgeous. This is actually the story of the witch in Snow White and her love interest and her romance and her story. Essentially, it is a queer romance, and obviously there's witches, and we're basically following her in her life, and I'm so excited to read this. The back is just as intriguing as I'm sure the book is going to be. Before the apple was poisoned, before the mirror was cursed, a witch became a queen, and a queen became a villain. Her story has been shrouded in shadow, but now she will rise. And then the inside it says, Snow White's dark queen tells her side of the story in this queer, witchy reimagining of the classic fairy tale from the author of Malice. I don't want to read into it anymore. Say no more. I know I'm going to have a great, fabulous time this fall reading this book. And then the last book on this Book of the Month stack, I never really wanted to read it, but then they describe this book as historical, which I'm loving my historical romance books. Romance, vampires. The only thing that throws me off is the Western vibe, but who knows, I might love this book. A lot of people say great things about this book, and that is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. People say that don't go into it thinking that it's very heavy on the vampire vibes. There are vampires, but it's subtle. I think what it focuses on is more of the historical romance itself. So I don't know what to expect in this book. I know that I'm going to love it though, because recently I've been loving historical romances, and I've been loving, on top of that, a historical romance with vampires in it. You guys, this is going to be so good. I'm so excited. So now that we are done with the first stack, with the stack of Book of the Month books, let's go over some of the cozy books that I added to this book haul in which I went feral. Okay, so the first book is the second book in this little series. I still have to read the first book, okay? Don't judge me. I haven't read the first book yet. Either way, I can't wait to get to both of these books. When the Crow is Away by Arlie Wallace. This is the second book in that duology. I think it's a duology for now. I forgot. In the Company of Witches is the first book. This is the second book, the continuation to that. I just love the fact that this is just a cute little mass market paperback, but this one, in comparison to the first book, is actually a floppy. Like, when have you ever seen a floppy mass market paperback? Like, when have you ever, like, to me that has never existed. They're usually small and tight, and not floppy like this, you guys. I'm gonna have such a great time reading this. The next book we have is just by the cover itself, and obviously everybody has talked so highly of this book. I think it's currently on back order in some shops because everybody wants to read it this fall. I'm just happy that I was able to snatch a copy for myself and not have to wait weeks and weeks. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. I don't think this came out this year. I think this came out last year, but it is popping up everywhere in my For You page on TikTok, okay? And I'm just happy I got it. I also saw the special edition of this, and it's so beautiful. It's sold out, by the way, but it's so beautiful. I believe this is about a woman. It's a small town romance. She owns a pumpkin spice coffee shop. And that's pretty much all I know. I'm so excited based on this cover, you guys. Look at this. Isn't this so gorgeous? Oh, all of these books also have these like gravitating, intriguing covers that just latch onto you and make you want to stop what you're reading and just pick up these books, okay? I'm sorry ahead of time if you guys end up purchasing or getting these books or adding them onto your TBR. I just couldn't help it, okay? Again, like I said, I went feral when I went book shopping, and I have no regrets. Anyways, it says, when Jenny's aunt gives her the beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dream Harbor, Jenny jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs, but Jenny's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Jenny's happy-go-lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan, or has this city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charm or her pumpkin spice lattes? Oh, I'm so excited. Grumpy Sunshine, small town, pumpkin spice lattes, a coffee shop. And they just, I think the Christmas one about a bookstore just came out. That's in the same series. So I'm so excited. I'm going to purchase it right away, you guys. Then we have The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. Look at this. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this a lot. Look at this cover. This was popular, I think, last year. And I think it's about a magical bookshop, but it's also magical realism. And it's more of a fiction, and I just can't wait to read this just because of the vibes. On a quiet street in Dublin. It's literally in Dublin. How perfect, okay? Say no more. A lost bookshop is waiting to be found. For too long, Opaline, Martha, and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives. But when a vanishing bookshop casts its spell, these three unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. By unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they find themselves transported to a world of wonder where nothing is as it seems. A magical bookshop? A magical bookshop. Say no more. Then we have this book, which is part of this cute little series. It's like murder mysteries, but with animals, and I've heard really great things. So I only purchased the first book to see if I even like it. The first book already is super short, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it because of the cozy vibes that it gives. It's Shady Hollow, a murder mystery. Look how beautiful this is, you guys. This is cute. This is a murder mystery with animals. A magical confection, quirky and clever, charming and smart. The first book in the Shady Hollow series, in which we are introduced in the village of Shady Hollow, a place where woodland creatures live together in harmony until a toad turns up dead and the local reporter has to solve the case. So this is part of the Shady Hollow series, and I think there's like 4 or 6 books in it. I can't wait to read this. I'm excited. This is going to be short, sweet, but very fun, and I know I'm going to get attached to the characters. Then we have The Coffee Shop of Curiosities by Heather Weber. I think this is more of an emotional, magical realism book. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, okay? It says, a mystery letter, an offer taken, and the chance to move forward. When Ava Harrison receives a letter containing an unusual job listing soon after the sudden death of her ex-boyfriend, she thinks she's being haunted. The listing, a job as a live-in caretaker for a peculiar old man and his cranky cat in Driftwood, Alabama, is the perfect chance to start a new life. Maggie Mae Brightwell runs Magpie's, Driftwood's coffee and curiosity shop, where there's magic to be found in pairing the old with the new. Lurking under Maggie's cheerful exterior is a painful truth. Keeping busy is the best way to distract herself from the lingering loss of her mother and her worries after her aging father. Ava and Maggie soon find their kindred spirits as they're both hunted not by spirits but by regret. Both must learn to let go of the past and move on, because sometimes the waves of change bring you to the place where you most belong. I feel like this is going to be a tearjerker, like it's going to be emotional. I can't wait. I'm so excited for this. And just, again, one of those books that has a beautiful, delectable cover. Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. How cute is this book? And the inside character art is just as cute. This is a queer romance about 2 women who stumble upon a murder that happens in their coffee shop slash bookstore slash tea shop. Run away with me, the mage had said, her eyes alight. You like tea, I like books. Let's open a shop somewhere remote and forget the world exists. Except a murder happens. So, yeah, I'm so excited. All Reina and Chianti want is to open a bookshop that serves tea while firelight drifts between the rafters. But Reina works as one of the queen's private guards, and Chianti is the most powerful mage in existence. Leaving their lives isn't so easy. But after an assassin takes Reina hostage, she decides she's thoroughly done risking her life for a self-centered queen. Meanwhile, Chianti has been waiting for a chance to flee responsibility. All the better that her girlfriend is on board. Together they settle in Tawny, a town nestled in the icy tundra near Dragon Country, and open the shop of their dreams. What follows is a cozy tale of mishaps, mysteries, and a murderous queen throwing the realm's biggest temper tantrum while these 2 women discover just what they mean to each other and the world. So I'm pretty sure there's a murder mystery involved with this book. I can't be certain. I just know that I'm gonna have a great time reading this. Then we have another queer romance. It's about 2 witches, and the cover again, chef's kiss perfection. The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. Look how beautiful this is. Oh my gosh, just look at it. A sweet feast brimming with whimsy, magic, and tender longing. A tale that deserves to be savored but begs to be devoured. The Honey Witch is cursed to never find true love, but when she meets a young woman who doesn't believe in magic, she dares to hope for more. I'm so excited. All these cozy mysteries or cozy cottagecore books are just... I feel like this year I've really honed down on what it means to read fall in your books with this entire stack. Then we have the second book in this series. I think there's like 10 or 13 books. I'm not sure. It's the Veronica Speedwell series. I think that's the name of it. I could be wrong, but this is the second book. A Perilous Undertaking by Deanna Rayborn. If you see in the cover, you see like fall leaves. I'm pretty sure this is going to take place somewhere in the fall season. It's going to be cold and it's going to be maybe gloomy. I don't know. I just can't wait to read this. This one takes place in London. I don't want to read you the back because this is the second book in the series, and I know that every book revolves around a new mystery. It's about a wife who gets accused of her husband's mistress's murder. And that's all I'm gonna say. Now, my next stack of books, I have a total of 7 books in front of me, with the exception of the first one I'm gonna talk about, because Barnes and Nobles has yet to ship it to me, or I don't know, it's lost in the mail, because I feel like I've been waiting for 2 weeks. Anyways, the next stack of books that I'm gonna talk about are books that are about Dracula, because again, I am in my Dracula vampire era, and these are all historical. These are all based on Dracula. You know, that's it. Not vampires, but Dracula himself, the god of vampires. So the first one I want to talk about, which I don't have in my hands yet, is the special edition copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker, which is obviously Dracula. Which is obviously Dracula. I can't wait to read this because this is the la creme of la creme, okay? This is the one that started it all. This is the original classic tale of the said Dracula. And I am so excited, you guys. I'm also a little nervous because I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard a lot of people say that it's difficult to, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's difficult to digest, I think, because of the writing. Because the writing is rich and it's lush, but there's a lot of words in there that people don't know what the heck it means, or there's a lot of like paragraphs in there that are confusing to understand. I just hope that I'm not one of those that doesn't feel that. I just hope I'm not one of those that feels really dumb reading this book, okay? I want to be that girl that can read Dracula and then what? You know what I'm saying? So I really hope that I can get through this no problem, because again, this is one of the books that I need to read this fall. I mean, the king himself who started it all in this classic book, Dracula, I must read this. We all know what Dracula is about, so I'm not going to go into it, but again, I'm so excited, and when I get the book, I'm going to be that much more excited to read it. This one is a cute little mass market book. I think it's part of a 6-book series, and this one kind of throws a spin on it. I don't really know a lot about it, but let's talk about it together. So this one is Anno Dracula by, who is it by, guys? By Kim Newman, I think. Yeah, by Kim Newman, I believe. This one is a spin on things. It makes it more interesting because it takes place in the Jack the Ripper era, in that historical time frame. You also see Sherlock Holmes popping in this one, and I think Jack the Ripper and Sherlock Holmes work together to get vampires that are attacking women, I think. I don't know, I could be completely wrong, but that's what I've heard. A savage new era has arrived. It is 1888 and Queen Victoria has remarried, taking as her new consort the Wallachane prince, infamously known as Count Dracula. His polluted bloodline spreads through London as its citizens increasingly choose to become vampires. In the grim backstreets of Whitechapel, which is where the Jack the Ripper killings take place, a killer known as Silver Knife is cutting down vampire girls. The eternally young vampire Genevieve Dudon and Charles Beauregard of the Diogenes Club are drawn together as they both hunt the sadistic killer, bringing them ever closer to England's most bloodthirsty ruler yet. Put it on your list, because I know this is going to be a good time. The Lights of Prague by Nicole Jarvis. Okay? A refreshing historical fantasy about class and the hunger for power. In the quiet streets of Prague, all manner of mysterious creatures lurk in the shadows. Unbeknownst to its citizens, their only hope against the tide of predators are the dauntless lamplighters, secret elite monster hunters who light staffs off the darkness each night. Damik, why did they pick the hardest names to pronunciate, okay? Why? Damik Miska leads a life teeming with fraught encounters with the worst kind of evil. Pajivis, I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Pajivis. Pajivis sounds kind of bad. Okay, so I couldn't find it. I don't know if I'm I don't know how to pronounce it, okay? But it's Pijavic. Please someone tell me how the heck to pronounce that, because I feel like I'm saying it extremely wrong. Anyways, moving on. Bloodthirsty and soulless vampiric creatures. Despite this, Demik finds solace in his moments spent in the company of his friend, the clever and beautiful Lady Aura Vishera. Lady Aura, a widow with secrets of her own. When Demik finds himself stalked by the spirit of the White Lady, a ghost who haunts the halls of Prague Castle, he stumbles across the sentient of a will-o'-the-wisp captured in a mysterious container. Now, as its bearer, Demik wields its power, but the wisp known for leading travelers to their deaths will not be so easily controlled. I have no idea what I just read because I spent too dang long trying to pronounce the words the right way, but I know that this is going to be so atmospheric and so good. This next book, I should have bought this a long time ago when it first came out because it intrigues me so much. House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. This one is not about vampires, but it's about the said count, duchess or countess, who happens to drink human blood. So they're not physical vampires, but they drink blood. Wanted, a bloodmaid of exceptional taste must have a keen proclivity for life's finer pleasures. Girls of weak will need not apply. A young woman is drawn into the upper echelons of a society where blood is power in this dark, enthralling Gothic novel. Marianne Shaw has been raised in the slums where want and deprivation are all she knows. Despite longing to leave the city and its miseries, she has no real hope to escape until the day she spots a peculiar listing in the newspaper seeking a bloodmaid. Though she knows little about the far north, where wealthy nobles live in the luxury and drink of the blood of those in their service, Marianne applies to the position. In a matter of days, she finds herself the newest bloodmaid at the notorious House of Hunger. There, Marianne is swept into a world of debauchery, and at the center of all is Countess Elizabeth. I think this is also one of those books that just draw you just because of the way that it's written. I don't know if it has a good ending or a happy ending for Marianne. We shall see, but I am excited either way. I've heard this book actually was written way before Dracula was, and I'm super intrigued just based off of that. This is what started vampire / Dracula books in general. Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, and this one in particular is the copy that you want to get because this one is edited by Carmen Maria Machado, and it's easier to understand if you get this book in particular. This is also Camilla and her queer romance with another vampire or maybe a human. That's pretty much all I know about it. To this hour, the image of Carmilla returns to my memory with ambiguous alternation. Sometimes the playful, languid, beautiful girl. Sometimes the writhing friend I saw in the ruined church. Sometimes I start from a reverie, certain I heard the light step of Carmilla at the drawing room door. Isolated in a remote mansion in a central European forest, Laura longs for companionship until a carriage accident brings another young woman into her life, the secretive and sometimes erratic Carmilla. As Carmilla's actions become more puzzling and volatile, Laura develops bizarre symptoms, and as her health goes into decline, Laura and her father discover something monstrous. Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu's compelling tale of a young woman's seduction by a female vampire was a source of influence for Bram Stoker's Dracula, which it predates by over a quarter century. Carmilla was originally serialized from 1871 to 1872 and went on to inspire adaptations in film, opera, and beyond, including the cult classic web series by the same name. This sounds so friggin' romantic. I am so excited. And again, the cover is gorgeous. It also has illustrations throughout the book, and it's a quick, short little book that I am dying to get through this fall. So last month I read Dracula. This is the continuation to that series. I think it's just a duology, and this is this author's version of Dracula, I believe. Dracula the Undead, the sequel to the original classic by Dacre Stoker. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed Dracula. Like I said, I gave that book a 5, just the way that it's written. It was so beautiful. It was so well done. I know that this one's not going to disappoint because it's probably going to be written the same way, and it also takes place in 1912. Okay, it's historical, so I'm excited. There's something about historical vampire or Dracula books that just do it for me. You know, it's not only about Dracula, but it's also historical. So the language and the verbiage and the accents are so incredibly beautiful that I can't help but to be drawn by whatever they throw in these pages just based on those things alone. Now, this book is a chunky book, but I love how floppy it is. I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm going to be my own judge of what I think about this book. The Historian by Elizabeth Costello. This is about Dracula or vampires, but it's written kind of in research case study form, which could be potentially boring, but hopefully I can find an audiobook to pair this up with. A hypnotic, a thrillable ride through history. Breathtakingly suspenseful and beautifully written. It's beautifully written, you guys. I'm going to be sucked into it. I know I am. Part thriller, part history, part romance. Kusawa has a keen sense of storytelling and she has a marvelous tale to tell. Just the synopsis, okay? Let's read the synopsis together because it's so beautiful. The Historian is the story of a young woman plunged into a labyrinth where the secrets of her family's past connect to an inconceivable evil. The dark 15th century reign of Vlad the Impaler, which is Dracula, and the time-defying pact that may have kept his awful work alive through the ages. The search for the truth becomes an adventure of monumental proportions, taking us from monstrosities and dusty libraries to the capitals of Eastern Europe in a feat of storytelling so rich, so hypnotic, so exciting that it has enthralled readers around the world. Buy this book, you guys. Just by that alone. Doesn't that make you want to purchase the book as soon as possible? And look, if you get the paperback, it is floppy. She's very floppy. We love that. I'm excited for this one. This one's like almost 700 pages. This one is 676 pages, okay? I know this is going to be a splendid of a book for me. I just know, like, the back of the book just sounds so beautiful, you guys. So beautiful. Okay, we are done with the Dracula stack. Yay. So let's now go over... I have some YA, I have some Gothic, historical thrillers, possibly historical fictions, maybe. It's more of thrillers though. I have a YA horror in here I want to share with you guys. This first book, I think that the cover of this book is so hideous, but I've heard really amazing things about this. This is a dark, Gothic, paranormal fantasy romance. Fairy Tale by Veronica Lancet. This recently came out, I think this month in September. It's creepy. It's got a haunted mansion or a haunted house. It's about this woman who goes back to attend her father's funeral because she was named in his will, surprisingly. And because she's named in his will, in order to get his inheritance, she has to attend his funeral in this small town by the name of Fairydale. In this, I'm assuming she lives in this haunted house of his, and there she meets a ghost who is one of the love interests. And on top of that, she also has a connection to a man in the town who is well known, very popular, and very good looking. So it's her dark romance between a ghost, which very much intrigues me. Not only that, the fact that she'll be in this haunted house with other ghosts is fascinating to me, and the man of the town, the handsome man of the town. So I'm very excited. That's pretty much all I'm going to tell you about this book. I'm super excited to read this. I'm also happy that it's a very beautiful 700-page book. It's very floppy. We love that. I think this one's a horror. This is... You guys probably have all read it. I have been the only one that hasn't, just because of the monsters in here are so freaking terrifying. And the cover, that's Sleuthfoot by Brom. What the fuck is this? Isn't this the most terrifying cover? Like, she has freaking hooves. Like, goat feet. It's beautiful, but yet very terrifying at the same time because of this. A Tale of Bewitchery. Set in the colonial New England, Sleuthfoot is a tale of magic and mystery, and of triumph and terror. An ancient spirit awakens in a dark wood. The wild folk call him Father, Slayer, Protector. The colonists call him Sleuthfoot, Demon, Devil. To Abatha, a recently widowed outcast, alone and vulnerable in her pious village, he is the only one she can turn to for help. Together they ignite a battle between Pagan and Puritan, one that threatens to destroy the entire village, leaving nothing but ashes and bloodshed in its wake. A dark fantasy and historical horror. This sounds so freaking creepy, you guys. So creepy, okay? And it's illustrated too. I love how big the paperback itself is. But look at the beautiful illustrations in this book, are just so stunning. We have a YA Gothic horror, I believe, and that is The Girl with No Reflection by Keshi Chow. This perfect blend of royal court drama and spine-chilling horror. A fairy tale at once ornate and lovely, yet filled with sharp edges. It's also beautifully written. Someone quoted, "Princess Yin believed in love once upon a time, yet when she's chosen to wed the crown prince, Ying's dreams of a fairy tale marriage quickly fall apart. Her husband-to-be is cold and indifferent, confining Ying to her room for the reasons he won't explain. Worse still are the rumors that swirl around the imperial palace, whispers of 7 other royal brides, who after their own own weddings mysteriously disappeared. I don't know if this is a retelling or what, let me know, but this is about a prince who marries and then his wives go missing, or maybe he murders his own brides. I don't know, but I'm interested. The next two books I had to get because I was in a Gothic mood, and these are Gothic historical romances or historical thrillers, I think, psychological thrillers. This one's a classic. I don't know why I haven't read this one yet. I'm so excited for this one. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is about a woman who is recently married to this man who lives in this mansion, Gothic Victorian mansion thing. And there she happens to see or maybe hear his ex-deceased wife's ghost or her voice in this house. And that's pretty much all I know about it. Classic tale of romantic suspense. In Monte Carlo, our heroine is swept off her feet by the dashing widower Maxim de Wintry and his sudden proposal of marriage. Orphaned and working as a lady's maid, she can barely believe her luck. It is only when they arrive at Manderley, her husband's cavernous estate on the Cornish coast, that she realizes how vast a shadow his late wife Rebecca will cast over their lives, introducing a lingering evil that threatens to destroy their love from beyond the grave. I am so excited, you guys. This is going to be all about vibes and atmosphere. Then, by the same author, we have My Cousin Rachel. This is again a psychological thriller, a classic story of mystery and love from the best-selling author Rebecca. Rachel, a woman of exquisite beauty, descends on the great Cornwall estate of Philip Ashley. Despite his accused suspicions, she soon enchants him. In this tale of good and evil, Philip must decide whether the glorious Rachel, the recent mysterious widow of his beloved cousin, is out to destroy him, or is the innocent victim of devious men with a tremendous longing to be loved. His fate and his future lie in the answer to this deadly question. This sounds very interesting. It also says it's a classic mystery story, and it's Gothic too. I have no idea what this book is about, but it was one of my Owl Crate special editions, and if this is not about autumn or fall, I'm literally gonna be laughing so hard because of the title, okay? The Longest Autumn by Amy Avery. I mean, look at this, okay? What is this book about? I don't know. Magic infuses our world, and it is the blood of the gods that carries it. I really don't know, but this has to do with some kind of gods, and autumn is involved, and that's pretty much all I want to know about this book. I don't really want to know anything much about it. I just know that it's going to be very interesting and very atmospheric. Thrown into a world of mystery, betrayal, and espionage, the main character searches for the truth. She might lose her morals, her hard-earned position, and the illicit spark between her and Autumn. I don't know, but I am very interested in this. And it's also a short read, so if this happens to be one of my top 5-star reads of the year, I'd be very surprised, but also very happy because this is, the title says The Longest Autumn. Say no more. Tarni is one of the 4 humans selected to usher the turn of the season into the mortal world. Every year, she escorts the god Autumn between the godly and the human realms. Autumn's seasonal stay among mortals brings cooler weather, changes leaves, and the harvest of apples and gourds until winter takes its place. This year, the enchanted mirror that separates their worlds shatters after Tarni and Autumn pass through, trapping both of them in the human realm. As the endless autumn stretches on, crops begin to fail, and the threat of starvation looms. Away from the magic of the gods' home, Tarni's debilitating headaches return with a vengeance. Worse, Autumn's extended stay in the human realm turns him ever more mortal and vulnerable, stirring a new forbidden attraction. So it's like a romance with the autumn season. Can't wait. The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. With this beautiful edition by, I think, Owl Crate. You trail your ghost behind you. I'm really interested in this book because it's not only a ghost story, I think, a horror maybe, but it's also historical, okay? There's nothing better than a book with the ghosty vibes that is also historical, and it also takes place in that time. I just love it. I eat it up. During the Great War, a combat nurse searches for her brother believed dead in the trenches despite eerie signs that suggest otherwise in this hauntingly beautiful historical novel with a speculative twist. That's all I want to read about it. This is going to be all very atmospheric as well, which is what I love in historical books. Next up is a horror, and that is The Lonely Hours by Shannon Morgan. This is Book of the Month's own little special edition version. Perhaps It's Not the Dead I Should Fear. And it's about a haunted mansion. A bewitchingly melancholy, thrilling modern ghost story for readers of Eve Chase, Megan Shepherd, and Lisa Jewell, the new inhabitants of a centuries-old castle perched on a remote island in the nearest Scotland. Okay, I'm sorry, that just got me really excited. Must confront its tragic and terrifying history. Small town Scotland in an island in a castle. You guys, this is perfection. This book, again, is one of those books that I've heard mixed reviews on, but I'm very interested because the cover is so stunning. And this will be my first Leigh Bardugo book. I know, guys, I know I still have to read Ninth House, but when I started that book a few years ago, I just could not get over the lush, rich writing in it. And now that I have read a little bit more fantasies, I know that I value and I love when books are written very rich and very detailed. But back then I did not enjoy it, so I soft DNF'd it because I plan on reading it at some point when I got to page 48 because I could not stand the lush writing, but now I can appreciate it. So I will go back to that book and revisit it at some point, but this I want to read first because this is also Gothic and historical, and I think it's a mystery as well. The Familiars by Leigh Bardugo. Look at this beautiful friggin' cover. I just can't get over it. Fate can be changed, curses can be broken. In a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Luisa Cotado uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers that the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for miracles, she demands Luisa use those gifts to better their family's social position. What begins as simple amusement for the nobility takes a perilous turn when Luisa garners the notice of Antonio Perez, the disgraced secretary of Spain's king. Still reeling from the defeat of his armada, the king is desperate for any advantage in the war against England's heretic queen, and Perez will stop at nothing to regain the king's favor. Determined to seize this one chance to better his fortunes, Luisa plunges into a world of seers and alchemists, holy men and hucksters, where the lines between magic, science, and fraud are never certain. But as her notoriety grows, so does the danger that her Jewish blood will doom her to the Inquisition's wrath. She will have to use every bit of her wit and will survive, even if that means enlisting the help of Julian Santigol, an embittered immortal familiar whose own secrets could prove deadly for both of them. I can't wait to read this. Then we have another, I think this is also a dark Gothic queer romance, fantasy romance, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe dark academia romance. An Education of Malice by S.T. Gibson. Just this cover alone is so stunning. One of us was always going to bleed for the other, and it sounds so romantic, you guys. An Education in Malice is a delicious dark academia tale of blood, secrets, and insatiable hungers. Does this have vampires in it? I don't know. Yes, this is a retell. Duh, you guys. The reason why I want to read this is because this is a modern Gothic dark academia retelling of Carmilla, which is also why I want to read Carmilla first. And this is Carmilla's romance set in this dark academic setting, which makes it that much better. Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's Women's College. Isolated and ancient, it is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Carmilla. Together, they are drawn into the confidence of their demanding poetry professor, De La Fontaine, who holds her own dark obsession with Carmilla. But as their rivalry blossoms into something far more delicious, Laura must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors, and magic, Laura and Carmilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in their ruthless pursuit of knowledge. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. All these books are so interesting, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be 4 or 5 star reads. I just know it just because they all have the same dark, atmospheric, Gothic. Some of them are historical. I am so excited, but most of all, I'm excited for this one because it just sounds so romantic and also very interesting on the fact that it not only is it a Carmilla retelling, but it also has a dark academia setting. I'm excited. And then finally, you guys, the last 3 books I want to talk about, at least the last 2 books, are more wintry horrors or wintry thrillers, but I wanted to include it in a stack because I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a winter book haul. I don't know. We'll see. But the first one takes place in Halloween, and that is very interesting to me. And also, it is a psychological thriller about a marriage, okay? Look Closer by David Ellis. I've heard really great things. A suspenseful, sexy, involving, twisty, and twisted. And James Patterson said that. I think also this is compared compared to Joe from You, that TV series and that book You, where he's very psychotically obsessed with his wife or his love interest, and this is about a marriage and a murder happens on a Halloween night. And that's pretty much all I want to know going into it. I want to be shocked with a twist and kind of slapped in the face with a twist. I've been wanting to read this book for so long. It's been on my radar ever since it came out. I finally have a copy in my hands and I just can't wait to devour it. The next one is a horror. I think it's a slow burn, but it's done so well and it's very atmospheric, and that is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I don't know what this is about. Crisp, mysterious, and scary. Reminiscent of Stephen King. Westfall, Vermont has always been a town of strange disappearances and old legends. The most mysterious is that of Sarah Harrison Shea, who in 1908 was found dead in the field behind her house just months after the tragic death of her daughter. Now in the present day, 19-year-old Ruthie lives in Sarah's farmhouse with her mother, Alice, and her younger sister, Fawn. Alice has always insisted that they live off the grid, a decision that has weighty consequences when Ruthie wakes up one morning to find that Alice has vanished. In her search for clues, she is startled to find a copy of Sarah Harrison Shea's diaries hidden beneath the floorboards of her mother's bedroom. As Ruthie gets sucked into the historical mystery, she discovers that she's not the only person for someone they've lost, but she may be the only one who can stop history from repeating itself. So maybe it's a ghost story? I don't know, but I've heard great things. And then the last book on this list is a horror, and this is one of the most terrifying horrors some people have read. I'm a chicken, okay, when it comes to horror, and I almost didn't buy this, but the cover is beautiful and terrifying that I just had to. And I've also heard really great things. Theme music by T. Marie Vanderlee. Do you see what it says down here? It says, the scariest book since The Haunting of Hill House. This is about a girl who moves back into her childhood home in which a tragic accident happened. I think her father murdered everybody in that house while she was like a 9-month baby. Now she's living in this house, probably dealing with the history and the past and the ghosts that haunt the house. And I've heard it's so scary, you guys. A chilling, enthralling debut. This delicious mix of horror, ghost story, and mystery. She didn't run from her dark past. She moved in. Why would you move into your childhood home given the history that it has? I don't know, but I am very scared and very excited at the same time. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I fairly hold for the spooky season, maybe, or for the fall season itself. I am so excited that I now own these books. They are all going to look very pretty on my shelves, and also they're going to be really great reads. They're going to be dark, gothic, atmospheric, spine-chilling, scary, terrifying, romantic. We have vampires. We have Dracula, for goodness sakes, okay? There's nothing better than this stack. I think this is the best haul I've ever done so far. Just because all these books have kind of the same theme in them, you know? And we all know how much I love the fall, so I'm just so excited to own these books. So there you have it. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!